We welcome to the show Mr. Fix-It, Winston Francis. How's it going?
Ah, fantastic, Chris. Fantastic. And yourself?
Yeah, I'm all right, yeah. So you've recorded a couple of new songs, I'm Falling in Love with You and I'm Leaving. What can you tell us about them?
Well, fortunately for me, Chris, I've got a son who became very interested in music, and he's been doing it now over the past 6, 7, 8 years. And a very short while ago, a few months ago, he said to me, "Dad, I've got a couple of songs that I'd love you to record." So we went into the studios. He built the tracks around me, and I was really pleased with the results because I think it's a fantastic tracks.
Yeah, so these are original songs, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm Leaving is a friend of my son's, Lee. It's a guy who lives in California. He actually wrote that one, and it sounds like a personal experience, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Very much so. Yeah.
It really sounds like an experience.
Sounds like you're singing with a tear in your eye.
Yes. Well, I was just trying to interpret what the words that he wrote, and I think it's a brilliant song. No. And the other one, Falling in Love with You, is a song originated by Little Anthony and the Imperials.
Oh, okay, yeah. I know Little Anthony, yeah.
Yes. That's one of his songs.
He did I'm on the Outside Looking In, didn't he?
That's right. So I think that also is a lovely song. And I remember that, when I was much, much younger, in Jamaica, we sang that. So it was like taking me back, a few steps back, when I heard the song. My son brought it up, and, I'm really glad I did it.
So what's it like working with your son then? That must be a bit different.
Well, in a way, this is not the first songs that I've recorded with him. This is about the 5th or 6th song I've recorded with him. And the first song, it was a bit strange, like the pupil is telling the teacher what to do. But, you get used to the idea, when you find out that the teacher or the pupil knows exactly what he's talking about. And because he's very knowledgeable as far as music goes, and he knows exactly what he wants you to do, and he tells you what he wants you to sound like. And if you just give him the time, you will succeed. And I find him a very, very good producer, and a lot of guys from Jamaica now, are flying the flag for him and saying he's one of the best producers that they know at the moment.
So where can people buy your music from? Is it available on iTunes?
Well, it's on iTunes, and all the medias you can get them from. And also Chris Peckins in Shepherd's Bush, if you're a local, if you're in London.
Yeah. Chris
have got them, but they're all on iTunes.
Yeah, that's the way it is now, isn't it, really?
Yes, that's the way forward. And, the great thing about these different mediums, Chris, is that, a few years ago, when you're dealing with a record company, you had to they'll send you a statement saying you can contact us in 3 months, and then you have to give them 3 months grace, so it's always 6 months before you get your money. So musicians only got paid twice a year.
Oh, right. Well, that's interesting, because a lot of musicians say, oh, it used to be better,
No. When you deal with a record company, you have to wait 3 months, and then they'll send you a statement saying in 3 months' time you get your money. And the same thing with like PRS and MCPS, all these different companies, you get paid by the quarter. But with iTunes and all Reverb Nation and all this, as soon as your record is sold, you get your money.
Yeah, that's better for everybody, isn't it?
Yes, I love it.
And the fans get it.
Of course, the fans get it right away, and they don't have to search for it. It's right there before them.
What else have you got planned for the year? You was also with Dennis Al Capone recently, wasn't you?
Yes, with Dennis and I recorded a couple of songs for an outfit called Prince Fatty.
Oh, okay.
And this guy Prince Fatty is very, very knowledgeable when it comes to reggae. He's got a studio down in Brighton. A really, really, really beautiful studio. and it's not a digital studio. He mixes digital, but you know, everything else, you know, is like the old school.
Analog.
Yes, analog. You know, real old school.
Do you get like an older sound because it's
yes. I sent you a couple of tracks, I think, today. One of them was "Go Find Yourself a Fool," which I was the first person to record "Go Find Yourself a Fool." But when it came out as the Techniques. But it was really my voice on it.
How did that come about then?
Well, actually, Bruce Ruffin, who wrote and recorded the song, was a very good friend of mine from school. And when I was going to school in the States, I used to come home like every other month. And one Sunday evening when I was back home in Jamaica, he came to me and asked me to sing this song. But at that time, there was no cassette players, so the only way you could hear the music, would be on quarter-inch tape. You'd have to go to the studio. So he sang me the song, and you know, he told me that if I came to the studio the next day, but I said I'm going back to school tomorrow, which is Monday. And he said, "What time is your flight?" And I said 3. And he said, "Well, you've got all morning to do it." So the next morning, we went to the studio, which was Duke Reed's studio. And we recorded the song, and I got a taxi, and went to the airport at about 1 o'clock. Got on my plane, and I was home. And I didn't hear the song. That was in 1968, I think it was. And I didn't hear the song until 1974 when I came to Wayne. I've been in England since 1971, but I didn't hear it until 1974. You know, I was in a club and I heard Coxsone playing it.
That must have been surprising.
I was surprised. And then, you know, I heard Coxsone saying, "And this is a track by Winston Francis." And I said, "Me?" And when I heard the track, I thought, I don't know that track. And then he said, you know, it came out as a Techniques. And the minute he said Techniques, I thought, oh. And I went over and I spoke to him. And he says, "Yeah, it came out as a Techniques." But he said, the minute I heard it, I knew it was your voice. Winston Riley had put it out as a Techniques because Bruce was a producer, but he didn't really know anything about pressing records and all that. That was Riley's department. So he gave it to Riley to put out, and Riley put it out with the Techniques.
And that's the story of that song.
Yes.
It's always great when there's a story to a song, isn't it?
It always is. But it became a very popular song, "Go Find Yourself a Fool," here and in Jamaica. Prince Fatty, we recorded it along with I don't know if you remember Alibaba. We did that also with Dennis Al Capone and myself, and we did Baba Reba, and Al Capone and I did that also.
So you've been very busy then.
Yes, extremely busy. I went to the last show I did was Friday night down in Bristol, and oh, what a show that was! Because funny enough, I've been to Bristol a couple of times, and you know, but this is one of the best shows I've had in Bristol, because the venue was about 5,000, you know, and they were all, you know, I doubt it very much if any one of the fans were over 30. They're all under 30, I'd say.
Oh, that's
you know,
great.
all young people, and they all knew the songs. And they were singing them and, you know, jumping, and it was really, really great. I had a wonderful time. A lot of them, you know, they studied the music, you know, they know exactly, you know, the right type of music, you know, and you have fun, you know, when you do a show and these kids actually know the songs. I remember, because you actually go on a trip. I remember the first time I heard UB40 sing, you know, my song, one of the songs I wrote, Mr. Fix It. The first time I heard them sing it live, you know, I was in it was a theater in Brixton, the Brixton Academy it was, as a matter of fact. And when I heard it, you know, it was like you're in another room, because it just sounded like an echo until you come back to yourself. It's such a trip, a beautiful trip. You know, and I said, wow, you know, it's great to hear somebody, you know, singing your song, you know, and that's the kind of feeling you get when you hear younger folks, you know, kids, because you ask yourself, how do they know these songs? But, the younger generation, they're really into their music, and, hey, I remember, once I went into the bank, and while I was in there, I heard this music playing, ba-ba-da-ba-da, ba-da-ba-da, ba-da-ba-da. I was thinking, that sounds like my song. Sounds like the introduction to Mr. Fix-It, and then it's running again, ba-ba-da-ba-da, ba-da-ba-da, ba-da-ba-da. And this girl took out this phone and she was talking. So when she was finished, because I was before her actually. So, after I finished my transaction at the counter, I waited, and when she came out, I said, excuse me, but I just happened to hear, the introduction, your phone, your ringtone. And I said, it sounds familiar to a song I know. And she said, oh yes, it's UB40 Mr. Fix-It. And I said, that's fantastic. She said, you know the song? And I said, I actually wrote it.
They're like, said, yeah, you wrote it.
Oh, you wrote it. I felt stupid afterwards, though. Because that was the end of that conversation, because I thought she must have thought, weird old boy that is.
Yeah. Funny.
But, it's great experience. It's great,
Sometimes it's better when they hear their song sung by somebody else.
Yes. It's a great buzz. It's a really big buzz.
It means they've chosen your song, I suppose.
Of course. I remember the first time I heard Beres Hammond, Let Them Talk.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you know that Beres used the introduction of Mr. Fix-It for that. If you listen to it, you're pop, ba-da-ba-dum, 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 bum, 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 ba-da-ba-dum, 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 on Let Them Talk. And it's a big record for Beres, But I've got a CD at the moment with 17 different cover versions of Mr. Fix-It by Dennis Brown, Beres Hammond, Freddie McGregor, Coco T. You name it, they're on there.
Yeah.
Errol Dunkley, Sugar Minott, they're all covered Mr. Fix-It. So sometimes when I want a good buzz, I just put it on and leave it.
Yeah. That must be, I wonder if that's the record,
Oh, well, it's great. It's great. And there's about 20 more, covers of it. So it's really nice, when you can sit back, and listen to all these different covers of your song and sometimes it really goes through your head. You say to yourself, how the hell did I write that? But, it's just great, for you to pick the words out of the air, put them on paper, and then, put them to music. It's a wonderful, wonderful trip.
So what else have you got planned for the rest of the year?
Well, I've got quite a few shows in Germany. I've got a big festival coming up on the 21st of June. I don't know if you heard of the Secret Garden Festival.
No, I haven't. No, tell us about that.
The Secret Garden Festival is a festival in Cambridge, I think it is. And every year, I think that's why they say Secret Garden Festival. When it first started, I understand it was like they started with 200 or 300 people, but now it's like a 10, 20, 30,000 attendance over the 3 days that it's on. I think it starts Friday to Sunday. But it's massive. It's a huge festival, and it's really, really nice. It's really nice.
Is it all types of music?
Oh yes. It's reggae. They have different stages and tints in there, and it's different. They have rock. Every type of music you can think.
Oh,
but I think the biggest pull is the reggae section, and I did it a few years ago with Delroy Washington, who was we used to manage. Desmond Decker,
okay.
And also Dennis Acapone did it. Alton Ellis did it, a few years ago, and I'm doing it this year again. So I'm really, really pleased with that. also March, I've got a couple of shows. I think I've got one in Cologne, in Germany, and I've got one in Leipzig, or Leipzig as the Germans pronounce it. I've got one, I think, also in Radebeul in Germany, and then in May, I'm going to the States because I'm going to be honored for my music in Hartford, Connecticut.
Oh, that'll be great.
Yeah. So because I got an award a few years ago from I collected this in the Apollo in New York, and that for me that was a really, really, really great honor, to go into the Apollo and collect an award. It was fantastic. So now I'm getting one from Hartford, Connecticut. So I'm actually looking forward to receiving that also.
So is this for your contribution to reggae music? Or
Yes.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
that'd be fantastic.
Yes, I'm really looking forward to this. And I've got quite a bit of family living in New York, and also my sister lives in Connecticut. So that would be great for them also, like homegrown boy, make good, family-wise.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a fantastic occasion.
Thanks for
Cheers, Chris. Cheers. Thanks. Bye.